Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. So today we're going to talk about gold and silver. However, I know that I've talked about this subject matter in the past a few times, but I've got a new thing to show you about precious metals and why I hold them. Okay, so first I wanted to show you my little score that I did this month, and I wanted to tell you why. So first of all, let's put this out there, okay? So we can go into this presentation or this video, whatever anyone may want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, I agree 100% with those of you that are going to say that you cannot eat gold and silver. True. I mean, you can try. It'll probably come out the other side, you know, as a whole piece. But yes, it will not provide you with nutritional value as itself, okay? I also understand that there are some places in the Bible where it says that one day people will be throwing their gold and their silver onto the streets, pretty much meaning that things are going to be so bad that even gold and silver won't protect you. Those are not the reasons why I don't want to call it invest, but why I protect my wealth with gold and silver. Those are not the reasons. I don't get gold and silver because you can't eat it. I don't get gold and silver because it says in the Bible that one day people will be throwing their gold and silver onto the streets, which it very well may be. But that's not the reason why I get it. Okay? The reason why I get it is to protect my wealth. All right? And is it a risk that I'm taking? I guess anything can be considered a risk, right? Is it an investment? Absolutely not. And that's why I want to show you here, once I finish showing you what I got here and why I got it, why gold and silver should not be considered an investment. Unless, and this is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Because you all know that I'm a associate's degree graduate, all right? And I'm not a financial advisor, all right? So this is my opinion. But why gold and silver is not supposed to be used as an investment. Now, I do know that there are people out there that are traders that trade high volumes for small gains up and down every day, sometimes even every hour or every minute. Okay? And that's how they make their living, is by trading, you know, buying low, selling high, buying low, selling high, right? But I'm not that talented, so I choose to do what I think will allow me to maintain my purchasing power over time, okay? And after I show this to you here, I'm going to do a small presentation on the computer, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here in a few minutes, to show you 3 very good examples, all right, of why it is that gold and silver is not really an investment, but a hedge against inflation, all right? Or a hedge against governments, all right? Why do I say a hedge against governments? Because who creates inflation, right? Federal, you know, the reserve banks, right? They create inflation, right? And who allows the reserve banks to exist? Our government does, right? I'm sure that if you took a poll in the United States or in any country tomorrow that, well, I can't say I'm sure, but I would assume that if you took a poll in every country, whether they want to get rid of their central bank, I bet you that it would be on the upside that people would want to get rid of their central banks. All right. So that's why I say that it's a hedge against inflation and a hedge against governments. All right. So every month I take a look at my bills, every single month. All right. And I take a look at what's left over. And I try to add a little bit every month to my cash stash. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in case you've never heard this, it is a good idea, I think, to have some cash. Because if ever we go into a deflationary event, which means that the availability of cash may be diminished for a time, Let's say, for example, if there's a banking crisis and they close all the ATMs, they close all the banks, etc., the only instrument for purchasing will be cash for the first few weeks, right? Depending on how long that crisis lasts. So it is smart, in my opinion, to have a stash of cash in your home so that you can get by for a couple of weeks or a month or two, you know, whatever you're comfortable with keeping in a safe in your home or hidden somewhere where you can get to it and where it will be safe, all right? I think it's smart to keep some money at home, all right, so that you can always have that there, just in case. But any excess that I have on a monthly basis, or sometimes I don't have that much for that month, so I just don't bother, you know, getting anything, and I'll just save it up for the next month. But usually I'll have enough to get at least like 4 or 5 coins, you know, silver coins. And sometimes I have a little extra, okay? So this month I had a little extra, and what I got was, I got a great deal on these quarter ounces. These are some real nice beauties here. These are, let me see if I can turn them up the right way. Yeah, these are quarter ounce 2015 American Gold Eagles. And I was going to get a half ounce because I didn't feel like paying the premium for a quarter ounce. So the premium on the quarter ounce was about $26 more than if I would have bought a half ounce. So I told the gentleman that at the coin shop that I visit, the only one that I visit, I told him, I said, well, I'm not going to pay that premium for the quarter ounces, so let me just get a half ounce. And he said, you know what? I'll give you 2 quarter ounces for the price of 1 half ounce. And that's what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, about finding a coin shop near you where you can build a relationship with the people that work there or the people that own it, right? Because when they get to know you and they know that you're going to be coming back, then it's easier for them to give you good deals because they know you're going to get coming back, and you can build that trust relationship, right? So and I got an awesome deal on this right here, all right? This I paid $17 and change spot. I mean $17 and change per ounce for this 10-ounce bar, which is, I think, a great, great deal. Now, I will have to admit that this, I think, is such an awesome set. If you can see all of these right here. This is a set of 20 Canadian maple leaves. And I forgot what year they were. Let me see what year they are. Oh, these are also 2015s. This is a set of 20 APMEX Canadian maple leaves, quad 9s, of course, 2015s, and they're all encased in their own little individual case. So these are awesome for, you know, for making gifts out of them or something like that. I did pay a high premium on these. I paid $20 per coin, which would have netted me, had I just bought generic silver, it would have probably netted me an additional 2.5 ounces of silver should I just bought generic instead of this government minted. But I think these are so very pretty. Look at these guys. You know, I have to give it to Canada, to the Canadian Mint. On I don't like this side very much, but I just think that this is such, you know, awesome attention to detail. I really like the little security watermark they have down there. I just think it's a really nice coin. My favorite is the American Silver Eagle. But they stopped producing those for some reason. They ran out, I guess. I guess they ran out, even though it's against the law for them to run out of silver as long as there is a demand for silver eagles. The reason, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you don't know that, if you've heard that the U.S. Mint ran out of silver and they stopped producing silver eagles, the reason it's against the law for them to not produce silver eagles as long as there's a demand is because they're supposed to purchase the silver from the open market, right? If they're not getting it from within the U.S., they're actually authorized to buy silver from outside the U.S. But what I think goes on is that they know that if there's not enough silver left in the refineries that make the blanks, all right, that make the blanks that get turned into silver eagles, all right, that if they go out into the market even further, I think that would push the price of silver up. So I'm not sure. That's just me thinking out loud. I could be 100% wrong, but I think that's why it's against the law, because they're supposed to, all right, get that silver from wherever they have to get it, as long as there's a demand for it. And it's happened, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row now where they've shut down production because they didn't have any more inventory. All right. But just to point to this, ladies and gentlemen, every once in a while, it's okay to get something that you think is nice. Was this a smart purchase for me to be paying an additional dollar something premium just to get these? It was and it was not. And the reason it was is because this is still always going to be worth something no matter what. This will be here well after I'm gone. All right. It will always exist. All right. In this form. All right. It can get melted down or anything, but it will always be silver. I forgot what it takes to change the makeup of the quality of silver and gold. I think it takes like a plasma ray or something like that in order to be able to change what they actually are, because silver and gold are elements in their purest form, right? This is 100% silver or 99.99% silver, right? And there's no other element in it. It's not a compound. There's no other element. So there's nothing you can really change it into, right? You can change its shape by melting it and recasting it, but you really cannot change it into something else, all right, other than what it already is, okay? It's just like you can't change oxygen into a different element. Oxygen is always going to be oxygen, right? You can combine oxygen and other things together to make it, into other elements like oxygen and hydrogen, to create H2O, to create water. But you really can't change it. It's always going to be what it is. Same thing here, all right? So that's why it was a smart buy. Why wasn't it a smart buy? Oh, look at that. Oh, no, I thought this coin was dented, but that's just the plastic. Why would I say it wasn't that smart of a buy? Because I could have gotten a couple more ounces of generic silver, which is still silver, all right? It just has a different shape, all right, than what it is. But sometimes it's okay for you to get something that's a little bit more if you can afford it. If you can't, you should not. You should just stick to what you need until you meet your goal, okay? Now, for those of you that are going to say, well, I cannot afford gold and I cannot afford silver. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to get one of these, all right? Well, let me start up here. You don't have to get this if you can't afford this, okay? And you don't have to get one of these if you can't afford these. Or one of these, okay? It's very simple, all right? You can get a silver dime, a 90% silver dime. I've said it before, a 90% silver dime once a week. In a year, you'll have 52, which is more than what most people in this country have. Okay, so slow and steady wins the race. All right. Having said that, before I continue onto the computer, let me say that, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can do to protect your wealth is to first make sure that you cover your B's of prepping, especially your first 3, all right? Make sure you have food, water, shelter, anything that's going to take care of your biological needs. Food, water, shelter, all right? Warmth, all right? Make sure that you have any medicines that you need in order to survive, all right? And or thrive, like vitamins and stuff like that. Make sure that you have protection, all right? So that you can protect the things that you have that are allowing you to live, okay? Once you have all of those things covered and you still have a few pennies left over at the end of the month to get a dime or 2, or to get an ounce or 2, or to get a 5-ouncer, all right, or a little bit of gold, that's when you do that, okay, ladies and gentlemen? Before I would even get silver, if I was in a situation where I could not really afford to get, you know, silver, and I'm thinking about getting silver dimes or something like that, before I even did that, I would still put a little bit of cash aside. I would do that first before I even got any silver, to make sure that I had a little bit of a cash stash at home. Then I would go and start getting maybe 1 dime a week, or whatever you can afford, or whatever you decide is the right number for you in order for it to protect what you've worked for. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? So, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and shut off now. But before, I wanted to go ahead and give a big shout out and a thank you to John, to Mary, and to Joseph. Thank you guys for the coffee that you guys bought me. I know a couple of you bought me more than one, and I truly appreciate it. I just want to say thank you very much, okay? I really do appreciate it, and I know that spending 10 or 15 seconds saying thank you is really not enough, but it's really all I can do. So I truly do hope that you're getting something out of the content that I'm providing, and more importantly, that you're getting something out of our community, all right, that we've built here together, all right? So I think that's even more important, all right? So thank you guys very much. We'll probably go to a commercial break here in a second, and I'll see you guys back. See you guys back in about a second or so. It'll be a little longer for me, but I'll see you back in a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. So I wanted to go ahead and explain something really quick about the title. It says something like, get out of the system, become your own central bank, or something like that, all right? That's something like what the title is going to be about. And why am I saying that? Am I saying that to completely get out of the system? No. We live in an era where we need to have digital banking, which is what we have. Mostly is digital banking, all right? We live in an era where we have to be able to go to a bank. Most of us, okay? I know that there are still some people that pay all their bills with checks, okay? But most of us live in an era where we have to go to a bank, all right, and put money in the bank so that we can pay bills, all right? So when I say get out of the system, become your own central bank, what I mean is preserve your own wealth, all right? Don't allow someone else to control what you've worked and sweated for years, because who is going to lose? Is it the people that are servicing your wealth, or is it you? Sure, the person that is servicing your wealth may lose a commission, but you are going to lose what amounted to however many years of wealth you have accumulated in that paper, right? So when I say get out of the system, I don't mean get out of it completely, because we still need to have some kind of presence in the current system in order to maintain our standard of living, all right? But what I mean is control your own wealth preservation. And I want to show you why and how gold and silver, here I am cataloging gold. Here I'm showing you guys gold, showcasing gold, all right, what gold does. Because gold usually goes up and silver follows, okay? As a matter of fact, in my opinion, I think that this next business cycle, when it's over, I think that silver will much more outperform gold, all right? It will outperform gold percentage-wise, I think, all right? I'm even crazy enough to think that one day silver will reach parity with gold, but that's another video for another time, all right? So I've picked 3 countries. I've picked Argentina, all right? I've picked China, and I've picked the US. And I'm going to show you how in each individual case, gold has preserved the purchasing power of whoever held it in that nation. Okay, so here we're looking at the chart for Argentina going back to 2014. And if you follow my arrow here, if you take a look at 2014, you're going to see that the price of gold in Argentina, I'm not sure what they call their currency. So I'm going to call it the Argentine dollar, okay? I'm not sure what they call their currency, all right? But if you look at the price of gold from 2014 to about the middle of 2015 or so, it was pretty steady at about between 10,000 and 11,000 Argentine dollars, right? And then it started climbing. And then you can see that between the year 2014 and current, which is actually current, which is 28 February, gold has risen in Argentine paper 553%. So let's call it 550%. All right, gold has risen. All right. So what we're saying here is that if you held an ounce of gold 5 years ago in Argentina, that ounce of gold right now would be 5.5 times more valuable in their currency than it was back in 2014. So why does that matter? All right. If you take a look at, just a second, let me block this real quick. Okay. If you take a look at Argentina's inflation, all right, I think here we call it CPI, Consumer Price Index. So this is Argentina's inflation rate. If you look back at 2010 to 2014, just like the other chart, all right, their inflation rate was pretty steady, all right, about 10%. And then if you look at today, it's at 50%. So their inflation in Argentina between the same period, all right, that I'm, sorry about that, during the same period that I'm showing you here for gold, around 214, 215 roughly, all right, it was about the same, all right. But what we care about is the start and the end, all right. So if you go over here at the start, you can see that their inflation was pretty steady. But if you look over here in the end, their inflation after all of these zigzags, all right, this is where they started having a problem, and then they try to fix it, and then they started having a problem again, and then they try to fix it. Their inflation went down, and now they're back up. Okay, so their inflation has gone up, you know, from roughly 10 to 50. So it's gone up roughly 5 times, all right? And as you can see, the price of gold has gone up roughly 5 times. Actually, gold here is outperforming inflation. So you were actually a little bit better off as far as purchasing power goes than you were back then when you first bought it, you know, when inflation was pretty steady. All right. So gold in this case has kept up with their inflation. All right. And has protected the purchasing power. Now, in all actuality, could you have made a little bit of money here if you held this for that long? Yeah, you would have made a little bit of money in regards to having a little more purchasing power today than you did back then. But the idea is that you maintained your purchasing power. Okay, so if you were in Argentina and you were holding gold, all right, and you were buying gold around this time, all right, you're very happy that you did that today because you at least preserved your purchasing power. Okay, let's go take a look at China. All right, look at China, how zigzaggy it is. All right, this is the gold price, all right, for China. And as you can see, it's not about the price. It's about the gold protecting your purchasing power. Because look at this right here in 2011 during the last high for gold, real high, in Chinese yuan, all right, gold was almost 12,000 Chinese yuan, right? And here it's only 9,000. So what's going on here then? How is this good? That if you had gold back here, you know, if you bought gold back here, it's now less than what it used to be. Well, first of all, if you go from the beginning of this chart right here to 2010, gold has actually risen 15%, okay? From the beginning. It had these zigzags because of the market and all that kind of stuff, but gold has risen 15% from the beginning of this time here in 2010 to where we are now, right? Okay, so, and remember now, ladies and gentlemen, the point here that I'm trying to make is that gold is not for investing. That is for protecting your purchasing power, right? And that's why I keep making that point, because some people may see this and say, well, what if I bought gold, you know, over here? Well, in my opinion, I think that the best way to purchase precious metals and stack precious metals, and like RTD says, get your weight up on precious metals, is to dollar cost average. And like I stated before, I started buying gold when it was around $35, and I bought it all the way down to, I think, when it hit 13 something last year. All right, and I'm still buying it as it's going up. Okay, it's dollar cost average. All right, you just buy a little bit at a time. You buy what you can, a little bit at a time. I try not to pay attention to price, and trust me, if you hold precious metals, you will know. All right, no one's going to have to tell you when it's time to sell. You will know. That time is different for everyone, but you will know. Okay, so let's take a look at China's inflation for the same time period. So from 2010, okay, this is before 2010 right here. Okay, so 2010, oh, this is not a good one. It was about 1. All right. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if there's a very good chart to show you guys. Okay. All right, well, yeah, this doesn't have any numbers, and I can't pop up the numbers. But here, let me just show you what I mean here. So you see here around 2011 how their inflation is really high. Guess why their inflation was really high? Or guess why their price of gold was really high? Because it was keeping up with inflation. So you see how this chart right here, and I apologize that that other chart doesn't have the numbers, but you see how this chart right here mimics, all right, how the price of gold mimics this chart, their inflation. So you see here was high, and around 2012, between 2012 and 13, it went down, right? And look at that, between 2012 and 13, it went down, right? And then it went up a little bit, and it's up just a little bit higher than what it was in 2013 or so. All right, see right here. So this here is just up a little bit higher than it was in 2013. So again, to the point that gold and silver isn't really to make you rich. It's to preserve your purchasing power. And in this case of China, it has definitely preserved the purchasing power. All right. Now for traders, for people that are traders who bought up here, they messed up. All right. Because they're buying it in order to try to make money, to try to make more than what they started with. So if they bought it up here, they messed up. But if you're just a average person trying to preserve your wealth over time, it doesn't matter where you bought it because you're holding it. You're holding it for the long run. And one day when you know that you need to change it, you'll know when you have to cash it in. All right. So try not to make this video super long. Let me give you my last example. And here is gold in dollar terms, right? US dollar. Okay. So let's take a look at the US CPI, which is our inflation, right? So this one I've got clearer numbers here. So here I can show you that in early 2010 our inflation was I think this is in basis points. All right, so it's from 210, roughly 210, and it rose to about 250. Okay, it rose to about 250, a little over 250. So it rose approximately 20%, between 20 and 25%, you can say that it has risen in the last 9-10 years. Okay, so we're looking at about 20-25% rise in inflation over that time. So if you take a look at the gold price over the same time, all right, between 2010 and today, it has risen about 20%. So today it's about 20% higher than it was back in 2010. Same thing like what happened in China. If you're a trader and you were looking to get into buying gold right here at 1900 and change, all right, and you're relying on the price of gold going up and down so that you can make your money, then you lost out if you bought up here. But if you were just the average person, just buying gold nice and steady, all right, throughout the time, all right, and dollar cost averaging in, then you would have preserved your purchasing power. Okay, that's the point that I wanted to make, ladies and gentlemen, that gold is not something that in my opinion, all right, it's not something that the average person would use to try to get rich off of. It's something that they would use to just maintain the purchasing power of the wealth that they created through their labor. All right, because for me to be able to buy that quarter ounce of gold, I had to go to work. All right, and I had to actually invest in myself. What do I mean by that? Well, I need work clothes. I need to drive to work. All right, I need to be alive, so I need to eat and drink in order to be able to go to work. All right, that's my investment in the labor that I performed in order to receive that fiat that I used to buy the gold. So I want to preserve that investment. All right, and how do I preserve its purchasing power? How do I preserve my wealth? By getting a little bit of precious metals here and there whenever I can. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that I didn't really mess this up for you guys. I hope that I didn't confuse you. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. And those of you that are savvy about this subject matter, please help to answer questions. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I know that the time is getting close to where I'm only going to be able to maybe answer comments for like the first day after I put up a video, because honestly, I've been getting so many, which is a good thing. That is actually a very good problem to have. All right, so I appreciate everyone that participates in the conversation. All right, thank you guys very much for that. All right, but the thing is that it seems that I'm spending a little too much time on a daily basis, and I haven't had any complaints from the family, but I do need to spend time with my family too. All right, they're a lot more important to me than anything else. So I noticed that one of the things that I've been noticing is that when I get home from work, I put on my house clothes, and I eat dinner and do whatever small thing I may have to do, whether it's pump water or whatever. And then I get on the couch and I open my computer, and I'm not really sharing that much quality time with my family, and that's wrong. All right, and that's something that has to change. So if you notice that after a day, maybe two, I stop answering comments or anything like that, don't take it in a negative way. It's just that I have to be able to balance my personal life with my work life and with my YouTube life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that you guys aren't worth it. You definitely are. So having said that, I am not going to put up a video for this Saturday. Okay, I will have a live chat premiere for Sunday morning, same time as always. All right, 8 a.m. Alaska time. And I think this is going to be a really good one. All right, so tune in. It's going to be a review. All right, and I'll let you guys wait to see what the review is. But I'm actually pretty excited about this review. Okay, I actually have another water filter review coming up soon. As soon as I get it in the mail, I'll start prepping for it so I can do it. And I'm actually very excited about that. But this Sunday, we're going to go ahead and have another review, but this one I think is going to be a good one. I'm pretty excited about this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, thank you very much for joining in today. I really appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your time here with me. All right, I truly do. Thank you to all of you that support the channel. If you want to support the channel, just take a look at the links in the description, or take a look at the links in the pinned comment that I leave up on almost every video. Not every one, but almost every video. I'll leave a pinned comment out there if you want to support the channel. All right. Thank you to those of you that are chipping in and supporting the channel by letting a few ads run through. Someone commented the other day that they were sorry, but that they couldn't go through 2 or 3 5-minute ads. So I don't choose what ads go up. All right, I have a little bit of a power to choose of where they go in the video, but I don't choose which ad. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a 5-minute, 10-minute, those crazy ads, I've seen an ad that was like 59 minutes once. All right, and the funny thing is that I watched it because it was pretty interesting. But if you see those ads, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the channel, just let about 30 seconds of that ad run through and then click off. All right. I think that after 30 seconds, the channel will get some credit. I don't know that for sure. But, you know, by all means, please don't be spending a lot of time watching some darn ads that are 5-10 minutes long. I wouldn't do that, all right? And I wouldn't expect you to do it. All right, so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. I hope you guys have a good Friday today. Next time that I will be talking to you guys will be on Sunday, all right? If for some reason something comes up or I get extremely bored for some reason, I might put up a very short video, but if I do, I do. If not, we'll talk to you guys again on Sunday. All right. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, the Blabber, and I'm out.